Okay, video number 2 for the day. So you just learned a little bit about the RTL, right? The response to literature. You got to check on how it's going to be graded, and you learned a little bit about why it's going to be an important writing structure and how you're going to be able to grow as a writer and as a thinker. The second part of what we're going to do today is we're actually going to learn a really specific writing technique called Says Means Matters that's going to help you to have really strong RTL scores and to be strong writers. So as you watch this video, you're going to want to be on the second part of your worksheet that says, evidence analysis, say, show, matter. As you go through, just like in the first video, you're going to pause and you'll be taking notes. For this version, you'll see that there's actually some blank spaces on your worksheet, so you're going to have to pause and actually write down what's on the slide in the video and make sure that you've got really thorough notes. Let's go ahead and get started. So, the strategy that we're learning today is called Says Means Matters. It's a structure to help you explain and analyze evidence in your writing. This will help you to make sure that you're digging really deep into the meaning of a text and that you're writing clear and coherent paragraphs and essays that argue your point expertly. Now, what part of your writing is this actually going to help you with? It's going to help you with the E, the A, and the R of T-Bear, the paragraph structure that we learned last unit. The E, remember, is to explain evidence. The A is to thesis as it relates to, so use rubric, where you're to some bottom side page, except that you're, interpret character / level thing. So what you want in the space reading between the concept. So that's a quick review with the outside technique for and to world. What we're going to do now is actually take a look at the examples that you have in your RTL packet. Okay, so there are 2 that I've done for you that I'm going to walk you through right now. And then there are 3 more, 1 that I will walk you through and 2 that you will try on your own. So the very first one is from a story that I used to read with my 10th graders last year called Two Kinds. We did a lot of work with cultural identity and looking at kind of ethnic identities, and so the first 2 pieces of evidence are all about these stories that talk about ethnic identity. So the first piece of evidence that we're analyzing, again from a story called Two Kinds, the quote is this: "Why don't you like me the way I am?" I cried. "I'm not a genius. I can't play the piano. And even if I could, I wouldn't go on TV if you paid me $1 million. So here we have the actual quote. The first thing we do, just about 1 sentence, we try to figure out what does the evidence say? And again, we're paraphrasing it, right? And so here we say, Jing Mei, a young Chinese-American girl, is throwing a fit at her mother because she's being forced to start piano lessons. So we're really just trying to understand, what is actually going on? What is happening in this quote? That's what does the evidence say? Next, we dig into the explanation a little bit, right? What does the evidence show? Okay, and this is really talking about how we can interpret the evidence. So this quotation shows the conflicted relationship between Jing Mei and her mother. While Jing Mei's mother wants her to be a prodigy because she thinks that anything is possible in America, Jing Mei resents being made to do something she does not want. Throughout the story, Jing Mei feels as though her mother's desire for her to be a prodigy means that she does not accept her the way she is. Okay, so this is all about kind of the meaning of the text itself and the story. So how does this quote fit within the story? What does it show us about the characters and their relationships? So it's all story-based. The last piece of this is, why does this evidence matter? Right, this is that really high-level question. We're trying to make connections to the world, to other texts, and to really understand the larger meaning, of this piece of evidence in the scope of this story. So here's how we're going to explain it with this. Jing Mei's relationship with her mother is similar to parent-child tensions experienced in other families, especially immigrant ones. Even though parents may have sacrificed in order to give their children new opportunities, children might feel overwhelming pressure to be something they are not. So what you might notice about this last column, right, this why does the evidence matter column, this is trying to connect it to beyond the text. So why does it matter in the world at large? Right? So here it talks about immigrant families, it talks about the parent-child tension, the parent-child relationship, and this pressure. right? This is something that you could relate to. It's kind of that thematic understanding, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at one more from a poem called Legal Alien. Again, this was something I read with my students last year. And the piece of the poem we're looking at, the quote is, "Viewed by Mexicans as alien, their eyes say, you may speak Spanish, but you're not like me." So we have our evidence. Again, the first thing you do, okay, is understand what does the evidence say, so paraphrase it. The speaker is being judged by Mexicans for not being fully Mexican. Okay, so just one sentence. The next piece, what does the evidence show? This is your explanation of the evidence, okay, within the story. What do we learn about a character? What do we learn about the story? It says this evidence shows that although people might have a uniting language, discrimination can still occur if people do not look the same. So that's our explanation, our show. And then lastly, why does this evidence matter? This is our analysis, our connection to the larger world. We say this matters because there is a chain of discrimination from Americans to Mexicans against other Mexicans. Okay, and so again, this kind of leaves us thinking, leaves us wondering. This is our big life connection. We're now going to take a look, okay, at the quote from The Outsiders. And I'm going to walk you guys through one from The Outsiders, and then you'll actually have an opportunity to try two of these out on your own. So this is a lot. Quick recap, okay? What does the evidence say? That's your paraphrase. What does the evidence show? That's your explanation. Why does the evidence matter? That's your analysis, your real world connection. So let's check it out for The Outsiders. Things are rough all over. Okay, you might remember where this was in the text. Okay, when Ponyboy, okay, is talking about the outsiders. So, what does the evidence say? In the world of the outsiders, a lot of bad things happen to people on both sides of town. Okay, so that's my paraphrase of the quote, things are rough all over. My show, or my explanation of this, is that Ponyboy understands how things are tough for both the greasers and the socias. It isn't just one group that experiences pain and difficulty. So again, this is rooted in the text. I'm talking about Ponyboy, I'm talking about the greasers, I'm talking about the socias, right? And then the last piece, right, this kind of tougher, higher level thinking is why does the evidence matter? We're trying to make a real world connection here. So why does it matter? Regardless of your background, how much money you have, where you live, you can experience tough moments in life. We are a lot more alike than we are different. We shouldn't set